son Bryce is in the hospital right now. We are still in the hospital. This is day 5. He has a condition called short bowel syndrome. He doesn't have much of his small intestine. He only has 25 to 30%. And then he has a PICC line for IV nutrition. So with the PICC line, it can be subjected to line infections. Alright, hey you guys, today is Wednesday. Last week we saw the infectious disease doctor that was on duty, and this week we saw we normally see both whenever he has like an infection, but this doctor said that he didn't really truly believe that it was a true bacterial infection. He thought that it was a contaminant. This is the second time that that has happened. It happened last January in 2023, and I'm trying to figure out what I can do about that, because why is this happening 2 times in a row? That don't make sense to me. Last time we wasn't there that long. I think we might have been there for maybe 2 or 3 days. This time, as of today, it's been let me see, we got there, I think it's been 9 days, maybe 10. I don't even know at this point. But so Monday he had surgery to put in a new PICC line in his arm. They couldn't get it in. I guess it was a smaller surgery team. I don't know. Okay, at this point. But I guess it was the team that puts in PICC lines. But they wasn't able to get it through because most of his veins are occluded. He's a really hard stick to get any blood work, which is why I didn't want them to remove that PICC line. But they said since he had an infection and the infection wasn't clearing, they needed to remove it. So they removed that last Thursday. I told y'all that already. But like I said, they tried to go in and put in a new one. They couldn't. They tried both arms and they just couldn't get it through because it was occluded. It was blocked. They couldn't get it. So yesterday they had to get an actual surgeon to go in and put in a new PICC line, but they put it in his chest. Now the reason why I'm against that is because the previous times we had it in his chest, we had so many more infections, but also I think there were so many hands too, because back then we had several different nurses coming to the house. Now we just have 2. There's one that comes every other weekend, and there's one that comes every evening. If those 2 can't come, I don't want anybody else coming to my house, because that means I have to retrain them. They got to be in my house, and I just got to watch them, and I don't want to have to do that. These 2 nurses that we've had them, I think one, she's been with him since he was 6 months, and the other, I want to say at least 1 year old. So we've had them for a long time, and if they can't come, I don't want nobody else in my house. I'll do it myself. I'm trained to do it. I know how to do it. So it's going to be less hands touching his line. Preferably we don't have any infections, because since he's had that last PICC line in his arm, he didn't have any true infections. Those were just like I said, contaminants. And any other time we've had the line replaced, it was because we couldn't get to flush, and they were able to use the same vein. Yeah, so since they actually had to take it out that last time, they weren't able to use the same vein. So I'm praying that we're good with this line. I'm just praying for his total healing overall, because this is very stressful. I don't like being in the hospital in general, obviously. Who wants to be in the hospital? But it can be a very dark place. The days I'm able to get out of there, I can, but a lot of days I can't. And I feel like sometimes, depending on the insurance, these hospitals keep you longer than you need to be there, just to soak up the insurance. That's just my personal opinion. I could be wrong. And he has 2 insurances too. One is the primary, one is the secondary. And we have the secondary insurance because of the nursing hours, and his other supplies. The primary insurance doesn't pay for that, unfortunately. They pay for hospital stays and medications and stuff like that, but the nursing hours, they don't pay for that. That's why we have to have the secondary insurance, which is a pain in itself. The surgery went well yesterday. It wasn't the outcome that I expected, but it's out of my control. So last night he got his TPN IV fluids, which has all the necessary vitamins and nutrients he needs because he's not able to absorb it in his food. So they're testing that out. We could have went home today, but they said they wanted to observe him for 24 hours versus the overnight hours, which, like I said, I could be wrong, but you know, it is what it is. So I'm praying that we can go home on Thursday, which is tomorrow. Today is Wednesday. I'm just tired of being there. I know Bryce is tired of being there. I want him to get well. And I want him to get what he needs, but at the same time, I don't know. That's just me. So I'm headed back out there now. I stayed home last night actually, and his dad stayed with him last night. They start doing rounds at 9 a.m. but normally since we're like in the last room in the back of the hallway, they normally come in the room like 9:40, depending on how many patients are on the floor. So it's 8:35 now. I'm on my way there. I should get there by 8:50. I have been working from the hospital. I can work remotely as long as I have a connection. So that's what I've been doing. But I think I'm going to take a day off. Probably once he gets home, we're settled. I'm past this party. I just need a mental day for myself because it's been a struggle. It's mentally been a struggle. I'm not even going to lie to you. And yeah, I just need a mental health break. Because I don't think people really understand what you go through when you have a child with a medical condition like that. Even though we're used to it on a daily basis, that's just our life. But in times like this, it's really difficult. Like, I'm apart from my other kids. I spend time with them when I need to. Like, normally when Raiden gets home from school, I'm home. He'll see me. It's been a week and a half since he's come home from school and I haven't been there. Like, I don't know if that means anything to him, but it means something to me. And I don't really think Trinity cares as long as somebody pick her up from school, but I do know that she missed Bryce being home. She missed him being there. That's her partner in crime. It's taking a toll on everybody, just like Takia's death took a toll, and still is taking a toll on everybody. Like, this is just like, ooh, speed bump. It's just too much, you know? It's too much. So I just need a mental break. I need a mental break. I need a mental break. So that's all the updates I have for y'all. All right, hey guys, happy Friday. Today is February 16th, and I actually just dropped Trinity's birthday video today. So if you haven't watched that one, go watch it. I would appreciate it. It's a little longer than what I normally do, but it was a long vlog because I was planning Trinity's birthday and then Bryce was in the hospital, so that's why it's so long. I did include some of Bryce's hospital stay, and I don't know why I did that. I included some of Bryce's hospital stay in Trinity's birthday video, but I decided to break it up. So now I'm coming back to talk to you guys. So now Bryce was discharged on February 8th, which was last Thursday. Got the TPN, which they were good with his labs for that. So they sent him home on that for 12 hours a day. I'm gonna try to include some pictures of what the TPN looks like, or maybe I'll show y'all the setup of it later on in the video. He was on 12 hours of TPN. Well, he is on 12 hours of TPN. It's been 1 week now. When he was admitted into the hospital, he was 41 pounds. Yesterday when we went to do labs, he was 45 pounds. So he gained 4 pounds within a week, because he's on the TPN with all the nutrients, and he gets something called lipids, which is fat. I told the doctor we might need to decrease that because 4 pounds in 1 week is a lot for me. I was a little concerned that it was fluid going somewhere else in his body. Excuse the mess in the background. I'm going to be redoing this weekend too. After we did labs yesterday, the doctor looked at his labs and said that his protein looked good. I don't know what all that means, but the doctor said the protein looked good, so it was a true weight. He's actually 45 pounds. And you can see it in his face. His face is a little fat. I'll try to put up a side-by-side of what he looked like before and what he looked like now. He looked like a skeleton before in his face, like really dry. And now his face looks really hydrated. So that's that. So now we're going to drop from 12 hours of TPN to 8 hours. And then he'll probably be on the 8 hours for some time until we can drop down to 6. Yeah, so we do have to do weekly labs. Every week we have to go to the hospital to do his labs and dressing changes to make sure he's good on the formula of TPN. I think once we have like a good, his labs continue to be good, we can go down to like maybe every 2 weeks instead of every week. And maybe then once a month. It all depends. But I wanted to show you guys like what the setup is in the room as far as his supplies go. I do need to go in there and organize everything again because I haven't organized it in a while, but I want to show you that. All right, so this is the little refrigerator that we keep his TPN in. I don't want to touch it because my hands are not clean, but that's the bag of the TPN there. And then these are the vitamins that we mix into the TPN. I want to get a bigger refrigerator because you're not supposed to stack more than 3 bags you're not supposed to stack more than 3 bags on top of one another, but this refrigerator is not big enough, so unfortunately we have to. I try to put some on the door too, but they don't always fit, so I'm gonna invest in another refrigerator. This thing right here is just like, I got this drawer from Wayfair, and it just has all of like his supplies in it that we need, that we touch every day. So saline, we got some green caps to put on the end of the line, and we have some heparin, and then these are the what do you call it, the needles we inject the vitamins with, and they're injected into the bag. We have some alcohol, some of his medication. So he's on Pepsid, he's on loperamide, all this stuff is over the counter. And then he's on this called cholesterol, which is supposed to help with the diarrhea. These two pretty much do the same thing. This one is not covered by insurance. This one is covered by insurance. So have both of those. Then I also keep like some disinfectant wipes to wipe down the area before we inject the bags. We got some batteries. That's pretty much it for this area. And then all these other drawers are just like miscellaneous supplies. That's why I need to go through it and clean it up because it's just unorganized right now. We do got some gloves. And then these are like what we use to cover his line so it doesn't get wet when he takes a bath. He doesn't take a full shower, but he does take a bath. So that's what we cover the line with. These are some of his G-tube extensions and some syringes. All this needs to be cleaned out. It's a mess. Like miscellaneous syringes and stuff. The overflow of supplies in the closet. I always try to get extra gloves from the DME company or the medical supply company just in case. More batteries, just overall like medical supplies. Okay, so yeah, that was basically all of his supplies and the setup, how we do everything. We do get weekly deliveries for the TPN solution, and then we get monthly refills for like the G-tube supplies, food, things of that nature. And then of course the over-the-counter meds, we just get that whenever we run out. So our goal is to keep the line infection free. That's the #1 goal, because hospital life is not it. Maintain his weight. I would like for him to maintain weight off of the TPN, but as you saw, we struggle with that in the hospital because he does #1 and 2 more than he was intaking. So when he was in the hospital, they were measuring like how much pooping and peeing he did, mainly poop, and he was basically pooping out everything that he was eating. on top of the food he was getting, the medication, the antibiotics and the fluids he was getting. It was just pushing everything out. Now at home, he still goes about 3 to 4 times a day, but it's not as much output as he was putting out in the hospital. So, and then his appetite is still the same. Still eating like I would say every hour and a half. He's eating something. He's allowed to have snacks in school when he's hungry. They let him go to the bathroom whenever he wants at school or whenever he needs to go at school. He's on what you call the medical 504 plan. He didn't need an IEP because he 504 and not the IEP. I think that's right. So yeah, as long as we stay in the same county, that 504 plan will follow him to every school he goes to. But if we switch to a different county, then we have to do that all over again. We've been pretty much doing this for 8 years. He started out going to a medical daycare, which they call a PPEC. I forget what it stands for, but it's basically for kids with medical issues, and those kids can stay there up until they're like 21, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But he left and started regular school and kindergarten. He's in a regular classroom. People always ask if he's in a regular classroom. Yes, he's in a regular classroom with regular kids. He doesn't have like any cognitive delays. He's very intelligent. He only has the gut issue. He doesn't have any delays as far as like cognitive delays go. I don't know why people seem to think that because he has a medical condition that he is mentally delayed. Those two don't go hand in hand. It kind of bothers me because people ask me that all the time. Like, he does not have a cognitive delay. He can speak, talk, eat, and think for himself. It's just a gut issue. Okay, so let me backtrack and tell you guys that he has this condition because he was born early. He was born at 27 weeks. Nothing that I did. I just went into early labor. After 8 days, they said he had a condition called necrotizing enterocolitis, and that took away most of his small intestine. He had so many surgeries. I don't remember. I know the first surgery was really traumatic. He nearly died. They were preparing us for him to pass. By the grace of God, he didn't. But it took away like the majority of his small intestine. So, yeah, we've been dealing with that ever since. The first few years of life were rough. He stayed in the hospital for 6 months. He was in the NICU for like 5 months. And then they switched him over to another part of the hospital for like a month and a half, maybe like a month. And then we went home from there. We got the training that we needed to like take care of his line and his G-tube before we left the hospital. And then they sent nurses to the house, I believe, like the next day. And I was completely shocked because a lot of the nurses didn't know what they were doing. And I'm like, y'all sending these people to my house, but they don't even know what they're doing. So the first day home to the first week home, there were like 3 different nurses in the house at one time. And it was really overwhelming because I'm like, y'all don't really know what y'all doing. We stayed with that medical company or that nursing company for maybe, I want to say like maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months. And then I switched to a different medical company, and we've been with this medical company ever since. We had quite a few nurses with this company. I was switching out nurses like if I didn't like them, if they did something on camera I didn't like, they was out the door. If they act like they didn't want to be there, they were out the door. Well, like I said in the previous clip, or maybe the last video, if it's not the 2 nurses that I have now, do not send anybody else to my house. I will do it myself. And that's just basically how it goes. If they can't come, don't send nobody else. Will he ever grow out of it is one of the questions I always get. He could potentially grow out of having the line if he learns to eat the proper way, and I guess his body absorbs, his body can absorb what he's eating. There are kids with his condition that don't have a central line, but they just constantly eat, they drink the right amount of water, the right amount of electrolytes, and they just do what they have to do to maintain the condition. But because Bryce isn't old enough to understand, he just doesn't do it. But I think once he gets older, maybe we can get rid of this. I think the G2 will always remain. He'll always have to be followed by at least a gastroenterologist, a GI doctor. I hope this clears up some questions that you guys have or may have had. If you didn't, drop the questions down below. I'll be willing to answer. And yeah, that's basically it.